Hey everyone, Bryan here from the Biblical History Center, here to talk about something really interesting today. Christy, our curator, said she had something really interesting to show me, and so I want to head on over to her office and take a look at what she's got. But something pertaining around the Easter holiday season and the crucifixion of Christ. So let's go check it out. Back kind of in our office area. Hello.
Hi.
Familiar face. You got something to show me today?
Yeah, come with me to the artifacts gallery. Oh, I left my keys on my desk.
That's all good. It's all good. Oh, so that's how you got back there. Okay, is this an actual artifact that we're taking out?
No, this
Okay.
is a replica. Yeah, so first of all, almost all the real artifacts have to stay in the artifacts gallery for their safety and protection.
There we go. All right, come a little closer because you got the mic. So, okay, what is this?
So this is a replica of an ankle bone. And by the way, none of the bones that we have here at the Biblical History Center are real. That's probably the number one question that I get asked as the curator is, are the bones real? No, they are not. They are replicas. So this is a replica of an ankle bone that was found in the Jerusalem area in an ossuary. So an ossuary means it's a bone box. Ossa is Latin for bone.
Oh, so it's like it's those things we saw inside the gallery, the big box?
Yeah,
okay.
So the big box, and so Jewish people would put the remains of their loved one in those boxes once all the soft tissue had decayed. And so this is very unusual because if you see closely here, there's a nail protruding from the ankle bone. And so this is actually super rare. This is only one of only 2 ankles that have ever been found this way. The other ankle was found in, I can't remember if it was England or elsewhere in the United Kingdom. So this tells us that the person whose ankle this was definitely crucified. Most of the time, it's actually really unusual to find the remains of victims who have been crucified because their bodies would have been left out to the elements just as an example to others, don't be this person, or they would have been thrown in the city dump to rot there. But the families of the deceased could claim the bodies if they wanted to give them a proper burial. And so that's what happened to this young man here.
Okay, so the first thing is ankle bone. Isn't traditionally the nail supposed to go through the top of the feet like we see in church art, essentially?
Most historians agree it would have been through the ankle like we see here. Again, not a lot of remains of crucified victims are found, but every victim that we know of that has been found that was crucified has been found with the nail still in their ankle. And then all first century Roman graffiti depicting crucifixion also shows the nail going in sideways through the ankle. So we can safely assume that it actually would have been through the side. Now, does this mean that the Bible was wrong when they said they crucified Jesus through his hands and his feet? Absolutely not. The ankle is so close to the foot that it would have been considered part of the foot. So it would still be considered part of Jesus's foot that they were nailing. It's just a little bit more bone density.
So you said this is one of 2, right? So if they crucified people by the thousands, millions even sometimes, well, not at one time, but over the course of the millennia, why don't we find any more? Why is there only 2 examples of this?
Well, because again, like I said earlier, there's very rarely do the remains get a proper burial. And so the bones decay. It only takes 10 years if bones are exposed to the outside elements for them to decay, unless it's perfect conditions like very dry, arid, deserty conditions with no animals to peck at the bones. That's the only way we're going to find bones after 10 years or so. So it's actually really rare because most of the time these bodies were left out on the cross to be exposed, but also these bodies would be thrown into the city dump or disposed of in that way. So since these remains are not getting a proper burial, they're not being preserved very well. This was given a proper burial. And so that's why we were able to find these preserved remains. And even with that, it being buried properly in an ossuary and stuff, finding remains like this is still incredibly rare because oxygen can still reach this, which means bacteria can still grow and eat it away. The other victim that they found in the United Kingdom was given a burial as well in a ditch in the side of the road.
That's hardly a wholesome burial.
It was considered a decent enough burial in Roman times.
So Jesus being actually buried would have been unusual for a crucified man.
It definitely would have. Now, it's not saying that it never happened. It's just the shame of being crucified meant that most families did not want to claim that relative, because you're bringing that shame up not just upon that one victim, but now upon your whole family. And you would have to send a special petition to the government in order to enable this to happen. So if you're a lower class family, you don't have any connections, that's not going to happen for you even if you want it to. So we see Joseph of Arimathea petition Pontius Pilate himself. That would be like us petitioning, Governor Kemp or something to just have permission to bury his friend. So it would take someone like that to be able to make this happen for you.
So why don't we go up to the cross that we've got over here and kind of show me a little bit where that nail would actually go, because I'm having a harder time on seeing where that would go.
So you can see his ankle would have been like this. And his feet will be down here.
I see. So it'd be kind of straddling. It'd be straddling both sides, just.
And he would be kind of in a squat like this.
Okay.
So it would be in a squat. So the back side would be resting here, with the ankles, the knees bent like this, so that the victim has the ability to push up to get a breath.
So breathing would be a bit of a problem on the cross?
Yeah, when you're on a cross, you're dying of suffocation. So every breath that you take relieves some of that pressure on your lungs, but also it just prolongs your own suffering.
So something like this would have been, something like this would have been, it would have been a cruelty, is what I'm kind of getting at.
Yeah, so this is called the saddle, and it will extend suffering on the cross when done correctly, because if the legs are still bent, because it enables you to get those breaths, which means that instead of dying in a couple of hours, it could take you a week to die this way.
Interesting.
Yeah, which is why we see in the Gospels, the thieves on either side of Jesus had their legs broken, so they can no longer press up, and so that they die more quickly.
Now here we have Jesus on a normal tree, and where in church art it often shows like a telephone pole or a railroad tie or however. So would he have been crucified on something like this, or on something we're more familiar with?
We don't know exactly what he was crucified on. Most likely it probably was a tree, though probably not an oak tree, but that's just what we have here in the garden. But it was probably either a live tree like this one, or it would have been a post that would have been rougher, that would have been fixed permanently in place, and then the part that you're like dragging through the streets and nailing the victim to is the cross beam up here.
That's really cool. So where is the real one of these, the ankle bone?
So the real ankle bone is in the Israeli Museum in Jerusalem.
Okay.
So you can actually go see it. And the ossuary in which it was found is also in that museum, and it says Jonathan, son of Hagiel. So we think we know his name is Jonathan. There were the remains of a few other people in the box, but we just like to assume that this was Jonathan.
Okay, so why was this particular nail left in this bone? Did we cover that?
No, we haven't. So as you can see, if you look closely, there's a bend in the end of this nail. So normally crucifixion nails were not left in the victim like this. They would be reused later for other crucifixions, or we also actually find a pretty big black market in the 1st century for
black market for nails,
for
really?
nails, because they were seen as good luck charms if they had already been used on a crucifixion victim.
Why?
We don't know. So I think it would be the opposite of good luck charm, but anyway, so they
Is it kind of like
good luck
something
charms.
like I know they use like gladiator sweat as like a health tonic.
I guess it's something like that. Who knows why the Romans thought some of the things that they thought. But anyway, so this one, though, got stuck. We think it was probably olive wood that this gentleman was crucified on, which is very hard, very dense wood if you've ever worked with olive wood. And so we can see that it bent the nail back. And so they were unable to extract it from the victim for it to be reused. And so they just carved this piece out and left it in the victim.
Yeah, they chunked it. Wow. Well, cool. Thank you for showing me that. That's
No problem.
something you learn something new every day. Anywhere people could look this up a little bit further, or a little homework assignment?
The Israel Museum is always a great resource for this, but this is such a popular artifact that just Google nail left in ankle bone, and I'm sure that this will come right up.
Cool. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I hope you learned something today. I know I did. So all the important information for our tour guys. So our open tomb tours are still going on until April 8th, I think is our last day. Is that right?
We actually extended them to April 15th.
Oh, we extended them. That's news to me. We extended our tours to April 15th. Hope to see you guys here, and have a happy Easter, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.